Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media, and I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine, but the carnal mind is foolish. Obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second nature to me, just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out. I am not the way, no way. I have seen the way. Yeah. Speak, repeat, there's no way.
Yo, welcome everybody to the 509 Divine Pines podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Daniel Pena, and alongside me today we have George Wiseman. And I want you guys to go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Please tell everybody around that this is going down, and this broadcast today is going to be a fly podcast with Eagle Research. Yes, man. First and foremost, it is October 28th, 2025. And if you guys could, please go support my project GoFundMe Thanksgiving food drive for families who are economically impacted. This is a operation between me and Yakima 420 Club, where we are gathering as much help as we can from around the nation, and people are actually already donating money. In the last 5 days, there's a $500 raise, so we want to do $40 pre-made Costco dinners that are already set and put together. And so right now we can serve out like a dozen families or more, and as we go on, we can all unite to help the economically impacted and the people who are going to be struggling from the missing SNAP benefits and just the way that society has pressured people financially. And if you guys could go over to GoFundMe and check that out. So it is cool. As you see, $500 already raised, and that's at GoFundMe, Joseph Daniel Pena, or 509 Divine Pines. I believe you can also go check it out on TikTok. I'll put this in the chat for everybody who is live or just going to be viewing the chat. So there is that, and like I said, we are going to be giving out food and Thanksgiving meals. If you know anyone who is going to be struggling right here in the lower Washington State area, between Yakima, Tri-Cities, and the surrounding areas, and you know someone who could use a Thanksgiving meal, an elderly, struggling mother, a single dad, and, whatever who it is, doesn't matter, just anybody who needs support, drop me the information in the email, drop me how I can get to them and how I can give them meal out to them, and I will do that. We will go ahead and deliver these the week of Thanksgiving, and so we're gonna hand deliver them, or if there's too much, we're gonna create a site where people can pick them up. I guess it just depends on how big of a project we build. So the more the merrier. If you want to help out and do these type of things in your own community, like I've seen some of my friends now be interested in starting it in their own states, go ahead, man. We're only as strong as our weakest link, and we're all in this together, straight up. If we watch our fellow society members, doesn't matter if they're homeless or just struggling, if we watch them wither and die, what good are you to society? Like you're pretty evil, man. I don't have much, but whenever I can, I do give to homeless on the street, like granola bars or any type of food. It's it's the least you can do. Like most people are driving around in $100,000, $200,000 cars, literally throwing away money. And if you can't be the type of person to help out society, really, what good is it really? We're seeing it with our own eyes how hard it is for people to feed themselves, their families, their kids, their elderly. People are going to be starving this winter. Hey man, just do your part. We're doing our part, and it's a sincere effort. This isn't just like we're trying to get social media famous. This is like we want to help people, and I hope that you guys want to help people too, because that's what this podcast is all about, like really helping out society. I don't just sit here for hours and spit out information just to sound cool. I get ridiculed if I really ask people, but this information is powerful for the people who actually enjoy wisdom, enjoy love, enjoy peace, prosperity, enlightenment. And so, if you guys could go over to GoFundMe, help out the good cause, fight the good fight, man. And with that, I welcome George Wiseman. Hey, George, for everybody out there who is brand new to my channel, could you go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I'm an inventor, born in Montana. My family moved to British Columbia, and I grew up on a cattle ranch. In the middle of the woods, we were so far out we didn't even have radio. There was no running water or indoor plumbing or electricity or any of those sort of things. So I grew up with the, and when I left the ranch and went out into the world and saw indoor toilets and electricity, I swore to myself never to be without that kind of thing again. So because of the skills I had gathered on the ranch, because there was no veterinarians or plumbers or electricians or automotive mechanics or anything. Back in those days, I built my own vehicle, rebuilt an F-150 Ford, 66 Ford pickup truck, and it was getting 36 miles to the gallon on the highway, and even at 70 miles an hour, it would still be getting 26 miles to the gallon. So I didn't know pickup trucks weren't supposed to get that kind of mileage. So one of the first things I started doing after I tried prospecting at first, and I did find some stuff, but it was a lot of hard work, and I might as well have been back on the ranch. That's a lot of hard work. So I decided I'd be an inventor, and I'd learn about alternative energy and how to have it in every way possible that I could think of. And I started my business, Eagle Research, by selling the fuel saving technology that I had developed up to that time, and then since then I developed quite a bit more. So that gave me the basis of something that then developed into what I have now, where if you follow it all the way through, I learned about Brown's gas, and I'm actually inhaling Brown's gas right now because it helps people not only stay alert, like when I'm at the computer all the time, but also helps the body heal from virtually every ailment known to mankind. And it's totally
This is like the smartest hippie technology right there. What do you got?
yes. I was labeled a hippie a time or two in my past. Especially when I was wearing my grandmother's deerskin jacket with the fringes and stuff on it. They called me a hippie back, even though that jacket was made in the 1800s. Crazy. So things just come around and around, and God manages to get this stuff out into the public one way or another, even though it keeps getting suppressed and suppressed. So I understand you'd like to talk a little bit about the various alternative and free energy technologies.
Yes, absolutely. And for everybody out there who wants to find George Wiseman, you can go ahead. Oh, that's not the one page. Apologize. I was going to pull up his website. So here it is, eagle-research.com. And he has it labeled down pretty fairly easy to find. Brown's gas, free energy, fuel savers. There's miscellaneous tab. There's Tesla technology if you want to understand that. Resources for everybody who pays more parts. So don't hesitate to reach out to him. He offers the Aquacure AC50, and you can also use my coupon code if you guys would like to over at eagle-research.com. I believe it is 509 Divine Pines for 5% off, and so that helps out big time because these technologies are worth it, and the information and the benefit of applying these things to your life is worth it. So yeah, there's that Eagle Dash Research. That's him. That's his. And
Hmm.
yes, I would like to talk about some free energy technologies on your website. You have Tesla Disk Research. So let's get into this.
Okay. Well, Tesla figured out a way to just get discs instead of having turbines with blades on them. He could just move a fluid past a flat surface and it would start to turn. And he figured out how to make that very reasonably efficient. And it was also, of course, extremely long lived because there were very, very no impact zones and stuff like that you get with the regular turbines. And he could do it with virtually any fluid. So he had both turbines for generating power and turbines for taking like falling water and turning it into power. So you could go either way, be a pump or a generator kind of thing, or a turbine that drives a generator, or an electric motor, which using alternative AC power, alternating current, which Tesla also invented to drive the disk technology. So you could pump concrete, and with the same pump you could pump fish, live fish. So and it wouldn't damage the fish. They could pump fruit in a fluid like strawberries and stuff, and it would work really well. And they had air conditioning setups because you could do the same thing with freon and other refrigerant gases, so that they could uh, generate heat or move heat just the way they do with the other kind of compressors and stuff.
So is this the same technology that we are seeing with the first hydroelectric dams?
Unfortunately, no. They are using actual turbines with blades in those
Okay.
hydroelectric dams,
So what
especially
type of
in.
where did he apply this technology, the Tesla disk?
Um, I don't know. Like, it's been applied many times, but I can't point you to an example. I do know that the turbines they're
Because I mean,
using in. Go ahead.
oh no, the turbines are.
In Niagara Falls are the traditional type of a turbine. I haven't. I can't point to an example. I do know that there have been businesses building these various turbines that were pumping concrete and all that kind of stuff, but I can't point to an example of it.
Okay. Um, so Tesla really started revolutionizing every parts of the energy field. Am I correct? Like I'm looking at it in a bigger picture. He almost tapped into every type of technology, correct?
I would
Yeah.
say there isn't a technology out there that wasn't affected by at least one of his inventions. That's right.
Yeah, this is why, guys. Tesla is by far the world's greatest scientist and greatest thinker, and probably in our modern time, or even in history. The amount of it seemed like compassion he had for humanity was off the charts. Where he really saw the path to heal humanity and our systems.
Yes, the technologies that we are kind of that are kind of popping up now, like these various cell phones and stuff, he already had that over 100 years ago. Every single person in the world could have had their own cell phone number 100 years ago.
Wait, what?
I'm not joking. You look at his
Explain
patent.
this.
But he was
So,
he was trying to invent wireless technology, wireless
with a
power,
phone?
so that even that was just a side effect because of the various frequencies and stuff that he was working with. That was, just a side thing of
Mhm.
this alternative technology, alternative current technology. Now, at first they were doing alternative current in wires, just like they're doing today, and the reason why they're still doing it today is because when Tesla was setting up the huge magnifying transmitting tower on Long Island, in Wardenclyffe, um, and was trying to get his additional funding from J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan says, "Well, where do you put the antenna? Or sorry, the power meter?" Because he was selling power. That's how he was making money. And Tesla said, "You don't need a power meter. Everyone with an antenna can absorb and use the power." So literally, airplanes could be flying with electric motors and just getting the power from the ground. They wouldn't need to carry fuel. Cars, he had a car, an Arrow, I think it was, that was powered by this radiated energy, so it didn't need fuel in it. Uh, and in the meantime, while you're setting up a worldwide power grid using these magnifying transmitters, uh, just like the cell phone towers we have today, uh, he could have given everybody their own cell phone.
I have an idea that like in some way our cell phones could have started off as like holographic. Is that too far out of the like
I,
and they're
that's beyond my knowledge, but
yeah
I know a
because
lot of this stuff could have possibly come from ET extraterrestrials.
which
I
in
don't
some
think they
sense
could
if
have
like
had the
if the Roswell tales are correct and they had to do like some touchpad type of stuff, so then it's along the same lines. Do you think do you think Nikola Tesla had access to some of these crashes
he said
places
he
or
was in communication with residents of Mars. He was quite clear about that. Mhm.
physical contact? But no, that's like do you
I'm
think
not sure who contacted who first, but when Tesla was doing his radios, like Marconi didn't invent the radio. He was
right.
apprenticed to Tesla, but he just simply patented it. But Tesla already had patents that covered everything. So even though Marconi went over to Europe and patented the radio, uh, it was already patented in the United States. Anyway, as Tesla was doing this research, he tuned into some sort of radio frequencies from Mars,
Right.
enough to get communications going.
I do remember that tale. It's just so from what I know too is that from the 1800s to the 1900s, the military and the governments were doing a lot of expeditions to find these crashes, these sites, these ancient technologies, and they were trying to use them and learn them. I just wonder if Tesla had because he traveled a lot, right? I mean, yeah. So I wonder if anyway he found some of these places or he was in touch with the right people and he saw these things firsthand and then he took it to a new level.
I have
Yeah,
no
that
idea.
very possible, right?
Could be.
Because he seemed his stuff looked like it was also ancient stuff. It looked like it was Vermont type and very ancient. Just the way the shapes and the whole all of it looked together, Egyptian like.
There has been pyramids all over the planet. When you talk about Egypt, for example, so
Yeah.
a lot of the technology, and they're still finding technologies in the pyramids that was built and inherent in the pyramid, regarding how energies were flowing and how materials were manufactured and things that they're just now discovering or rediscovering.
It's like
So,
in some of these hieroglyphs, they show a coil, right? That would be a Tesla type coil or something ish.
but it could be, and they had batteries back in the day for those kind of things. So they understood quite a bit that was lost and then rediscovered. But I think that if you go back, you find civilizations like Mu and Lemuria and Atlantis that had technologies similar or greater to what we have today.
You think that there's some truth to the obelisks being generators and underneath, like having the hydroelectric, or is it like it's some type of electric energy because of the limestone and stuff? That's all part of what you're referring to?
No,
With
I wasn't referring directly to that, but there was stuff in there that we don't understand today, still don't understand. There's a place in
yeah,
Florida called the Coral Castle, and
oh yeah,
what the guy did is he used frequencies. Always did it at night, and he moved huge stones into place without all the heavy equipment that we have and stuff. It was just with frequencies. It was pretty incredible.
and so all right, guys, I'm gonna show people real quick these findings on here in Washington State. We have the Snoqualmie waterfall. This is just something that is very fascinating. And Snoqualmie waterfall was actually the first place to have Tesla's hydroelectric energy in America. So here it is. Here's oh shit,
Mhm.
Washington. Damn, not that part. Oops, close that. Oh god. Washington State's 100-year-old Snoqualmie Falls power plant was the first ever to house its generators completely below ground. The underground cavity was initially four impulse type water wheel turbines and four stationary field three-phase Westinghouse generators was carved out of solid bedrock 270 feet below the surface. So, it was Nikola Tesla's AC power system, which was first commercially used, and so Snoqualmie Waterfalls was the first plant. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of it. So, right here, this is actually a picture I found. This is the first picture. I can't even find this picture much elsewhere, but this is from the actual city. So this is amazing history right here. So we see the dam underneath. Very fascinating, guys. This is late 1800s. Do you think Tesla went here himself and had a part in this?
No doubt.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm gonna go meditate in Snoqualmie Falls, bro. I am not even kidding.
They've this is a similar technology that they used over in Niagara Falls, where they had a deep shaft going down hundreds of feet, and then I think it's like half a mile or something of the horizontal to where it shoots out under the falls again. And that has recently been turned into a tourist attraction, so people can actually take an elevator down the shaft and walk out to behind the falls, just like they were doing. Yeah,
dude, have you done that yet?
No, I intend to. I'm 15 minutes away from there.
And live and record it on a YouTube video, so post it on YouTube. That way we can see it firsthand, and you can talk about it. Yeah. Just like walk through it and say, hey, this is what I. Dude, do it, bro. Do that because you're you're how close?
15 minutes.
You're the closest one to it, bro. I would have to fly a plane. Please do that if you could. Yeah. So this is cool right here, guys. This is the power of Tesla. He built all of our hydroelectric systems, right? Pretty much.
Everything is based on the Tesla technology, and Westinghouse was one of the first to embrace the technology. And a cute little story is that they made a deal so that Westinghouse would pay Tesla $1 for every horsepower generated. So when they put out a 400 horsepower motor, he would pay Tesla $400. And then at some point, Westinghouse was going to go bankrupt
because it's too much.
Yeah, he owed Tesla, and this is back in the early 1900s, right? So he owed Tesla millions of dollars. Okay, and Tesla said, "It's okay, forget it, don't even worry about it." This guy gave up millions of dollars, and then he was going to people like J.P. Morgan to get financing for those magnifying transmitters.
Oh, that screwed him.
Where if he did, but he really wouldn't have got the money from Westinghouse anyway because Westinghouse was going bankrupt.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Well, Westinghouse made a bad deal. Dude, $1 at the time. That's like $100 per watt now.
Yeah. That's right, because it's almost exactly 100 to 1 these days. Yeah, what $1 could have bought back then, $100 it takes today. Yes.
I just kind of I don't actually know the mathematics of energy like that, but I just kind of put a guess together for my reasoning. That's insane. So Westinghouse pretty much bankrupted himself by making that deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and some other deals that it wasn't just that, but yeah, okay. He was already going bankrupt before paying Tesla these millions of dollars because of other deals that he had made.
So right here it says the project was designed by Charles H. Baker. Do you know him?
No.
I'm gonna have to research more into that. So guys, this is the dam. I'm gonna go ahead and it's on my Facebook, so I'll repost it on my podcast page. So this early 1980 system, there was 300 electrical power generating plants. The Adams Hydroelectric Power Station had transmitted 746 kilowatts of AC power 26 miles from Niagara Falls to Buffalo, New York on November 16, 1896. Wow, guys. And this the plant's generators were housed in an above ground structure position just above the falls on the north shore of Niagara River. All right, man. No doubt about it that what we see in America and across the world is pretty much all coming from Tesla. So it says right here more on the Snoqualmie. The first generator of Snoqualmie Falls began transmitting power on July 31st, 1899, with the remaining units operational by November 1st, 1899, supplying electricity to Seattle, Tacoma, the surrounding areas. The original plant's capacity was 6 milliwatts. Later expanded through the addition of a fifth turbine in 1905 and a second powerhouse in 1910.
So that's
Woo!
megawatts. By the MW is megawatts, not milliwatts.
Yeah, yeah, megawatts. So so Weston's house owed him a lot, millions, straight up millions. All right. So the next part of this, man. Could, could you talk about this book, Breakthrough Power, that
Yeah,
was mentioned on your website?
a friend of mine, and she became a friend of mine mostly because of this book, but she was researching free energy, alternative energy, and I have a technology that I call heat technology, heat energy available today, where you could take heat from the air and turn it into electricity. So that was one of the, I think, 12 or 13 technologies that she put in Breakthrough Power. And so when she was interviewing me and stuff, we became friends, and we're friends to this day. She's so getting back to the actual, that's pretty much the only technology that I remember in the book. I'd have to go and grab a copy off my shelf to look at the other technologies that are in there, which I'm familiar with most of them, and I just don't remember which ones she ended up putting in the book. So I have several free energy technologies or alternative energy technologies, and I also have a lot of things that increase the efficiency of current technologies. For example, a transformer transforms alternating voltage and energy, alternating energy down from a high voltage to a low voltage, or a low voltage to a high voltage. Well, there's a way to do a step down transformer using capacitors, which I call my capacitive power. And I made capacitive battery chargers that do it. That then, instead of using a transformer, it uses capacitors, and it charges the batteries 50% less energy used than a transformer type battery charger, because it's so much more efficient. It doesn't make the noise and heat and all that wasteful stuff that the transformers do, the inductive transformers. So there's a lot of ways to increase the efficiency of technologies that already exist. And in my books and stuff, you'll be able to see that. And then there's technologies I'm still researching on, like the gravity technology, which is not in the Breakthrough Power. The only one of my technologies that was in there was the heat technology, where you could use essentially refrigerant technology. And anyone who understands refrigerant technology understands that the something called a coefficient of performance, where you put in 1 unit of electricity that would equal 1 unit of heat, and you can pump more units of heat. And they were pumping, there's some that have pumped up to 14 units of heat. So a coefficient of performance of 14 to 1. So you use electricity to pump that would normally create 1 unit of heat with 98% efficiency, and pump from the environment 14 units of heat. So let's just cut that in half and say 7 to 1. So if you have 7 to 1 coefficient of performance, then there's technology that can use Freon to run a turbine with a 3 to 1 power factor. So you end up with essentially twice as much energy out as you put in if you built a machine that has a 7 to 1 coefficient of performance, and then only use 3 of those to generate 1 unit of electricity back out again. So if you had 7 going in, you could generate 2 units of electricity going out for every for these movements of heat. So anyway, that is a legitimate free energy technology. Anytime you have a heat hill, you're looking for energy hills or energy gradients. So you got a hot temperature and a cold temperature, and you put a machine in between, then you can generate power. And that's been done quite a lot.
So just for everybody, I wanted to show this book real quick, Breakthrough Power, and this is you can find this on his website, $20. The publisher Amber Bridge Brooks, author Gene Manning and Joel Garbin. Right here is breakthrough power, how quantum leap new new energy inventions can transform our world. Easy to read even for non-techies, explores magnetic motors, water as fuel, zero point energies, and many other energy choices, compelling stories of brave innovators and their rich variety of solutions to energy problems, open sourcing clean energy inventions, what ordinary people can do to help, and a gift to everyone who's seeking a more harmonious future. And this harmonious future is something that me and George we're kind of talking about before, where like we're seeing reality being put out of harmony by the way technologies are, like the cell phones, the music, the movies, the radiation of these devices all around us, affecting our habits. Even as far as the technology within some of these medicines that we are injecting into our skin, and the actual nano components of this is disrupting our harmony with nature and disrupting our spirit. We see that these 5G towers are disrupting the harmony of nature and trees and birds and bees, and we see that cars are disrupting the habitat of animals trying to cross into their natural territory, their domain, but getting hit all the time. And it's kind of a big picture thing where we see there is a disconnection of peace and harmony in reality with the way that we implement our technologies and the way that we want to use these technologies for the future. And it seems like these guys, the technological elite, want to go ahead and have electric cars all the time and have electric stuff, and then or these other technologies want to harm. It just seems like it's a repetitive cycle, and they're really not fixing it. As far like as we mentioned just 15 minutes ago, Tesla had the answers 100 years ago, but it's the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans, these guys, these Elon Musk, in a weird way, and Bill Gates in a weird way, who they have the answer, but they're not fully doing everything to actually solve it. They're just like, let's get money, Uh, so there's ways to actually be in tune with nature, and George Wiseman and his peers have found these ways, and that book right here can show you. George Wiseman's technology can help you, and if we are going to see a change in our environment and at home or in our city, then we have to put things in harmony again. Um, you know, it's a collective effort. Um,
Mm.
so as that goes, so we have your technology and your water as fuel research. Let's get into that.
The water as fuel is a really interesting technology. There are many ways of using water to enhance fuel combustion that already exist, like water injection, water fog injection, various things like that. Uh, there's there's even a way that the Brown's gas, which is a water gas, can be used to power what's called a pistonless motor, a pistonless pump. And so you have a chamber that you put the gas in, and it has water in it, and two check valves, one coming in and one going out. So when you fire the Brown's gas and it creates a pressure, it pushes on the water and ejects water out, and then the combustion gases condense and make a vacuum and pull water in. Now, it sounds very simple, but it's actually very powerful. They're using these huge pumps in Europe to pump to keep seawater out of the out of the bad side of levees and stuff. So this is an ongoing technology that's being used. They use natural gas instead of Brown's gas. But it turns out that if you're using the Brown's gas, that you can, and I haven't done it myself. I'm quoting somebody else who had done it. There's a 10-to-1 coefficient of performance. So for every unit of electricity you need to make the Brown's gas, you can get 10 units of power moving out, which then we've got our 3-to-1. So you can end up getting you can have a Brown's gas powered free energy device in your basement that doesn't matter if the wind blows or the sun shines or the water flows. You can be alternate energy independent in everyone's own household. And if the calculations prove out, it's actually relatively simple. It would be something that would last for years and years with a very few mechanical breakdown and produce enough power that people could legitimately power their homes with that particular kind of technology. So that's cool, kind of a water as fuel technology. There have been people who have used actual water in internal combustion engines that are used for gasoline. I think I know how they're doing it. I have volumes of research on at least 50 inventors, of which at least 10 I think are legitimate, actually achieved the water as fuel. Pretty much 100% of those have been shut down in various ways. A couple of them were killed. A lot of them were bought out. I actually talked with one that even just had a really high fuel mileage vehicle. He drove, I think it was almost 500 miles on a gallon of gas, and he was bought out. And he came up to me after I did a presentation and talked to me privately on it. So he just let me know, you're on the mark. This stuff is happening out there.
You just say 500 miles on 1 gallon?
Yes.
Holy shit, bro! So I just got a kind of new car thanks to my uncle, but unfortunate circumstances because of things. It's like this car has 500 miles to the tank, and you're saying 500 miles on 1 gallon.
On 1 gallon, yes.
Dude.
Now that can be backed up fairly easy if you do some research on the Shell, I think it was engineers for Shell gas fuel company, petroleum. They used to have a competition every year, and the last year they had it, the engineers, the one team of engineers, they had different teams all in the same company, so the engineers would compete against each other, and one team achieved almost 500 miles to the gallon in an automobile. It legitimately open. People can research and see that well over 400 miles to the gallon.
So if it holds 10 gallons, is that 5,000 to the tank?
Yeah. You could literally have enough fuel in a vehicle to drive entirely across the United States without.
I want to research. I want to do this to myself, but that's dangerous. It's definitely the trippy thing.
Yeah.
Dude, can people do this to their motorcycles? Can people do this to their motorcycles and make it even crazier, like 700 miles to the tank, 800?
There have been people doing stuff with motorcycles, including just simply making entirely water-fueled motorcycles. Yes.
And the tank is ridiculous.
I don't know how
I'm guessing
they weren't getting that kind of mileage.
Okay.
That works better when you're enhancing the fuel mileage of carbon-based fuel, because carbon-based fuel is mostly wasted. At least 10 times the fuel potential is thrown out the exhaust. But if you had burned it in the engine properly, it would have turned into mechanical energy to drive the vehicle.
Okay. Does this change? So does the miles to the tank change with this technology depending on if the gasoline or if it's gas or ethanol or diesel or different things, different types?
Yes, the longer chain hydrocarbons can get more and more mileage. Like a diesel is like C12, so it's that 12 carbons, and gasoline is usually about C8. So it has 8 carbons. So the
diesel
we're finding can get, with the technologies that I was working with, can get almost double what the so a gallon of diesel you can go a lot further on than a gallon of gasoline.
700 miles to the tank ish. Oh wow. And what type of fuel do these airliners use? Can this be? I mean, could this be applicable to airliners and save our gas emissions?
Yeah, aviation fuel is just a very, very refined form of diesel or
right. So,
yeah.
But from what I heard, that a lot of our problems are becoming because of how much airplanes are creating smoke and all this transmission, how much fuel they're burning and all this stuff. This could save that problem, right?
It would definitely help.
hypothetically, this could save. Would this be okay? Now I'm thinking bigger scale. Could this be applicable to space shuttle
Well,
ish?
they're really not burning fuel in space or hydrocarbon fuels in space shuttles and stuff. They're
What are
usually
they
going
burning?
with hydrogen oxygen mixtures. They usually launch those rockets with hydrogen.
So could that be turned to more and a more could this technology be manipulated to efficiently be applied to space shuttles? I'm thinking
To launch space shuttles and stuff, possibly. I haven't researched that particular
because
aspect.
they also use a shitload of fuel for those space shuttles.
They do to get them up in the atmosphere for
They
sure, but they
use
need
a
a fuel that'll
lot,
burn clean and burn fast. And the
and
way that they're designing the rockets, the
it's
fossil
dirty.
carbon-based fuels can't burn.
It's super dirty, right?
Well, it doesn't the dirtiness doesn't matter so much as the way the flame burns. So they're
Uh,
talking like, yeah, you have to almost get into detonation velocities, and it's relatively easy to get um, hydrogen oxygen mixtures up into 5,000 feet per second, whereas the regular open flame burn of hydrogen is around 21 feet per second. I forget what carbon-based fuels are, but it isn't very fast in open. But they're still not getting the same velocities, detonation velocities that hydrogen can get.
and what if they started using things like deuterium?
Uh, Deuterium is simply heavy water. It's still hydrogen
Oh,
or water.
but it's
Deuterium
denser.
is denser because it has extra a neutron. So instead of just
Right.
having an electron and a proton, it
But
has a
they're using deuterium for reactors. So in a sense, we could also they in a sense there could be an engine built for with deuterium for a space shuttle if they actually tried it. But
okay. My understanding of deuterium is with nuclear reactors is that it dampens the reaction. It actually slows it down. And the same thing happens in our bodies, which is one reason there's a fad out there going with deuterium depleted water at this point, which,
so it's,
by the way, the Brown's gas can do that too. Anyone who buys an Aquacure, we're coming out with an attachment so that they can make their own deuterium depleted water. But so getting back to what it does is it dampens the metabolism in a person's body. If you get too much deuterium in your body, it actually starts to dampen the reactions in
well, I'm
your
talking
body.
about in an engine though, in to power to use like
So in a
the
nuclear power plant, it dampens, so allows the control of the nuclear energy.
right. So then hypothetically, if these space shuttles actually built a stronger engine that needed stronger dampening, that would be the dampening force.
No idea.
Yeah, I get it. This is big technology, but I'm trying to think of different ways that these
Mhm.
but we could save fuel. We could save fuel, as you mentioned, through this. We could save the gas emissions, the CO2, whatever, whatever, all these clouds.
Mhm.
What is being released? Methane. That's not meth.
Look,
What is
there's
technically being released?
nitrous oxides,
Nitric oxide.
hydrocarbons, methane, various all items of incomplete combustion. But if you get complete combustion, then you have water vapor and carbon dioxide.
And so, as much fuel as is being burnt across the skies everywhere, we could literally cut that by 50 to 75% with these
Yeah,
type of
but no
technology.
issue. Yeah, the technology has existed for 100 years to do that.
So all of this stuff with like, oh, we're overusing fossil fuels because we're choosing to,
Yes, there are people
and
that made the choice to do that and have regularly suppressed. Like I went to the University of Moscow in Idaho there, and I did research at the patent repository that they have there. And only going back to 1975 from the year that I did it, I don't remember, but only 15 or 20 years going back, I I was able to find 5,000 fuel saver patents. 5,000 in just a couple decades. 5,000, not one of which was on the market. And the technologies that I was using were I discovered well over 100 years ago. I had reinvented them, like the HYCO system, cold vapor system, which doubles the mileage of virtually any vehicle. And the these technologies were in existence, patented over 100 years ago.
I have a buddy who's talking about. He's just messaging me, referencing these things he's seeing what we're talking about. Isn't there some places in the world where some of these technologies are being used and no, nowhere?
Not that I know of.
What this is a kind of a question that's similar in a sense. Now, this Sam Osmanovich over with the Bosnian pyramid. Are you familiar with that?
No, sorry.
Sam Osmanagic. He's the researcher and the finder of the only active pyramid in the world, the Bosnian pyramid. And so the Bosnian military is protecting him and protecting anybody from the outside. And like they want to protect this place. And so actively, it is the only working pyramid where they're taking all their technologies, their readers, their EMF devices, everything. They're going inside the place, and it's still working there. It's silent in there. People are being healed in there. On top of the pyramid, if you stand in the center at the top, there's a light source that's emitting. You can see it at night. You can feel it with the EMF readers. You can feel it yourself. There is a harmony that is in that pyramid and surrounding the areas. It's all green. It's all lush. Like you can tell vegetation is off the hook around that area. And so they found he has 7. There's 7 temples. So oof, this is interesting. This isn't. I'm well researched on this. So they found 7 pyramids, right? And they create 2 Fibonacci sequences. It is the only pyramid that is actually that dialed in. So what it also does, 2 or 3, I believe 3 spirals, 3 perfect spirals, 3 perfect circles. And when it goes to the alignment of the sun, the alignments of the moon, and things like that, right? You know how all of these are supposedly, the Pyramid of Giza is only 12 minutes off with the sun, right? The perfect alignment of the sun. Well, the Bosnian pyramid is the closest. It is only 30 seconds off in alignment. It is the world's oldest pyramid complex. So it is Giza's times 10. You know how Giza is only let's see, let me just hypothetically put it's hypothetically 50,000 tons because of the stones. Well, the Bosnian pyramid structure is 200 million tons. The stone density is so far, it's intense. It seems like it's the most ancient pyramid complex. They have found the pyramid of the sun, the moon there. They have so master pyramids there. It is very interesting. What they're finding over the last couple decades, 20 years, I believe. I believe also underneath they're finding complexes. They're finding that these have chambers. They're finding that these have energy systems. They have waterways that are connecting all of these things. So literally, it is the only pyramid system that is alive, thriving, protected, and still producing the ancient energies. What they're finding there within the pyramids is like pristine. Everything there is still non-broken, non-rated and destructed like the rest. It seems like the rest of the world, where these Kabbalistic type of organizations, these satanic type of organizations, have destroyed all the architecture and weirdness, right? That they, I don't know why they seem to just, even some of the Zionistic type of Christian and that those type of tribes have destroyed a lot of these things too, horribly. It seems we need to protect our ancient history and protect our ancient structures. And I'm fascinated. The Bosnian pyramid complex is my favorite site to research. It is my favorite site to hear about. When Dr. Sam Osmanagic comes on any podcast, he's on the Tinfoil Hat podcast. He's on all these different podcasts. He's on Earth Ancients with Cliff Dunning. Cliff Dunning loves this complex. Literally everywhere, anywhere that is researching these alternative things, he's on, and he's showing his research. He's not loved by History Channel, and of course he wouldn't be loved by Zahi Awas and things like that, for sure. because he's showing the truth of these things, and he has his research. There's pictures. They even show the pictures of the light spectrography. So when it shows the
Curlian,
light, huh?
Curlian,
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
yeah.
the energy, the Kirlian energy. Yeah, it shows it. So if you, it's an amazing thing. You never heard about this?
No.
Oh, oh, dude, you got to research it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna go down a cool, because it's there's so much documentative research on it. He puts all of his stuff out there, and the Bosnian military and government, they promote, or well, I wouldn't say promote it, but they allow it, and they're protecting it. So it's one of, I think it's 10 times more important than Göbekli Tepe right now. And I only think Göbekli Tepe is being hyped up because of the occultic nature of the original people there. If we see the statues, and so that has free energy all over it. Man, that fired me up, because I'm thinking about it like it was just recently over the last couple months where they're coming out with extreme world-class evidence that this is the oldest pyramid active complex, and everything about this complex will change the ways we see history if people choose to accept that this is like holy shit, because I mean, it's so weird. We could show people the evidence of these free energies. We could show people the evidence of these pyramids. Like literally, we could take them there, but it's only if they want to choose.
That's right. There are none so blind as those that refuse to see.
Yeah, ignorance is a bliss, they say, huh?
Yeah.
Right. So what technologies have you been working on? What updates and things like that? Is it what else? What are you working on right now?
Well, almost 100% of my time is spent with the Aquacure right now. We like to talk about free energy, and I like to think of myself as an alternative or free energy researcher, which I am, but I haven't in almost 10 years been able to do very much on it, because I discovered and was then routed divinely, it appears, into getting the Aquacure out there so that we could help people choose to heal themselves. Because one of the things that also we discovered is talking about blind. I discovered is that healing is not for everyone. Only those people who choose to make the choice can actually take advantage of the technology. And that's one reason I have a 1-year satisfaction guarantee. So anyone can buy one of our machines and try it out fully as much as they want. And they have a year to do that, and they could still return it and get their money back. So I really and truly want to help as many people as possible be healthy, because with health, you have life, enjoyment of life. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. You have no way of making money. You end up costing money. You're miserable. You need your health. It's the basis of everything. And
so
once you get,
in metabolic senses, tell them how this gas is applied and how it works. Like
that's a really good idea. Okay, we'll start with the basic that our bodies are 62% hydrogen, 24% oxygen, 12% carbon, and 2% everything else. So 62% hydrogen. Therefore, we need our hydrogen. I'm inhaling hydrogen right now with the Brown's gas. And where do we get our hydrogen from? Usually we get it from our intestines, our digestive system, because hydrogen isn't really in the air when you inhale it like oxygen. So we eat hydrocarbon foods, and our digestive system breaks the hydrogens and carbons off, and there's quite a process to do that. And the end of the process requires not only the catalysts and enzymes and stuff, but also the bacteria. And we've been eating things that destroy our gut microbiome. So our bacteria that break the hydrogens off the carbon have been decimated. So we're actually eating food and not getting our proper nutrition from it. Okay, so that's the bottom line and where it goes. Then,
yeah, technically, guys, if you eat a hamburger, let's just say that's genetically modified, you're only gonna pull like 25% of the nutrients, and your body's gonna create a 75% of like a toxic waste in like this slime and weirdness of diabetes and cancer and all this sort of genetic mutations within your body. So that's what he means.
So if you don't have enough hydrogen, as we're being pointed out here, your body starts to shut down extraneous systems that aren't immediately life-threatening. And the first one that goes is your regeneration system, so that if you get a cut, you'll scar instead of healing it, because your stem cells are gone, or the stem cell capability is gone. Then if you still don't have enough hydrogen, your immune systems start to shut down, and therefore you'll get sick easier, and you won't heal as quickly. And then if you still don't have enough hydrogen, your organs start to fail and you'll die. So as soon as you start inhaling the oxygen or hydrogen and oxygen mixture, the Brown's gas, all your systems start to come back online. Your organs heal, your immune systems come back online, your stem cells reactivate. And interestingly enough, even if you had a scar, like I had a scar right here, right there.
Had, past tense.
Yep. It's this, if I bend my thing, you can just kind of see where the outline where it was.
I can't see him. No,
yeah.
There's no scar, bro.
Anyway, I had a scar there. I put a regular socket on an air wrench and it flew off and hit me on the head. Luckily, it didn't kill me. But and that's a whole nother story of all the different ways I should have died in my past life. But
hey, man, it seems like the devil wants to kill us who are on the light side, and I say that even me. I had 2 car wrecks this summer and survived.
Yeah, it's funny how the angels seem to protect us. I once said, my angels must have sprained wings. It said, please God, let him come home. So in any case, I'm still here. And the next step then is, now we're getting enough hydrogen. Why does the hydrogen work? And that comes back to something that the University of Washington, interestingly enough, a fellow by the name of Gerald Pollack, a professor there, he has a lab at the University of Washington. And
the name is familiar, very familiar.
And he discovered something that they initially called EZ water, or exclusion zone water. And that means when you have a hydrophilic surface, so water loving, hydrophilic, when water touches a hydrophilic surface, it forms a zone, exclusion zone, and it's a gel. It's actually H3O2 negative. And so it's not water, but it's formed from water, and all it has to do is hit a hydrophilic surface. Well, it turns out that our entire body inside is hydrophilic for the most part, like all our red blood cells and capillaries and all that kind of stuff. So 3 major medical mysteries are solved by this one discovery, which has a second half I'll get to in just a minute. So the mysteries are, why is it that our heart has proven not to have enough pressure, make enough pressure to push the blood through all the hundreds of miles of or thousands and thousands of miles of capillaries in our body? And why does a red blood cell that's this size go through a capillary that's this size without just plugging it like a cork? And why does every part of a person's body, from the tip of my pointy head to the tips of my fingers to the tips of my toes, get exactly the same blood flow? Why do those 3 things actually happen? Well, the first reason is because of the EZ gel, which is negatively charged and is a gel, so it's very slippery, reduces friction to almost nothing. So all of the inside of our body, the inside of capillaries, the outside of red blood cells sort of thing, is all covered with this EZ gel. Now, it turns out, this is the second half, that he found, Professor Pollack's lab found, that if you have a capillary small enough that the fluid, water in this case, will spontaneously start to flow. No pump. So all the heart has to do is get the fluid to the capillaries, and the capillaries actually do the pumping right to the very tips of everywhere that it's going, and then back in the veins and back to the heart. So the heart only has to produce enough pressure to get the blood flow to it. The actual capillaries are virtually frictionless because of the gel, and it all has to do with this gel. Now, why does that matter with Brown's gas? Now we'll get to this point. Professor Pollack stood up at a lecture that I had done in the front row. He was there, and he said, I know when I have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. How does Brown's gas affect EZ gel? And I said, I don't know. Let's find out. And so over COVID time, it was very difficult because the university was mostly shut down. but we managed to get the experiments done, and we discovered that if you put hydrogen in water, very little happens to the easy gel. If you put oxygen in water, very little happens to the easy gel. But if you put Brown's gas, which is a mixture of hydrogen, oxygen, and electrically expanded water, I'll get back to that in just a second, into the water, it will increase the easy gel a minimum of 3 times, 300%. And actually, some experiments were run to where you could see the easy gel with the naked eye. You didn't need a microscope anymore. So, but only the Brown's gas did that. Now, since easy gel is also what pumps up our cells, so I don't have the crow's feet on my eyes anymore, and a lot of the wrinkles and all that kind of thing are gone. My hands don't have the crepe paper look. They look like 30-year-old hands. When you have the Brown's gas in your body, it helps all of your body heal the way that it's supposed to. Now we'll get back to what Brown's gas is, to kind of work from one way to the other. Brown's gas is a mixture of hydrogen, oxygen, and electrically expanded water. So hydrogen evolves off the cathode, and oxygen evolves off the anode, just like regular electrolysis. But because Brown's gas electrolyzers don't have a membrane in the middle that interrupt what I call the electron bridge, they produce a third gas out of the middle of the solution itself. So a gas that's formed in the solution, not associated with the cathode or the anode. And that we call electrically expanded water, because we've shown that it is actually still H2O negative, because it's got a negative charge on it. But it's water that's soaked up electrons till it's become a gaseous form of water that isn't water vapor or steam. It's a cold plasma form of water, negatively charged cold plasma. So we call that electrically expanded water. And those electrons are bioavailable, directly bioavailable. So as I inhale this gas right now, I'm getting my hydrogen, but I'm also getting this energy, this bioavailable electrons, which incidentally, back during pandemic time, allowed people that were going to be put on a respirator, if they started inhaling the Brown's gas instead, in 5 minutes, their blood oxygen levels started coming up, and within 3 days, they were well and walking out of the hospital. So this is the power of this particular gas. It helps the body heal from virtually every ailment known to man, because it's giving people the nutrition that they need, the macronutrition. Because when you talk about vitamins and minerals and things like that, you're talking about the 2%, not the 62%. So that was just a quick with the Brown's gas for health.
So this could do things like, just hypothetically, like restore our collagen, activate like a GLP-2. It could restore like our NAD, so like restore our gene and growth hormones and everything like that. Am I correct? It
Well,
could reset and start, or give it like give everything the power to.
Well, it gives the body. So you need 3 things to heal. You need nutrition, you need energy, and you need intelligence. The body has the intelligence. What we're doing is we're giving it the nutrition, which is a basis of everything that's going on. The body can't do anything, although there is a bunch of transmutation that happens as well. That's a whole nother subject. And then the energy. So the Brown's gas is giving both the nutrition and the energy, and the body itself already has the nutrition it needs. The intelligence. Every cell in your body knows where it's supposed to go. See, this body is 66 years old. And
Brother, you look good. You look 50 years old, man. You look healthy.
Yeah, like 66. Yeah. So the every single thing, like I even have a little what do you call it? Here it is. Where is it? Here. It's here somewhere. This little thing on my face. Well, all your moles and all your a blemish of one kind or another. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can see it well enough here. It's not,
bro. You're showing off your skin. Everyone's all jealous. How do we get smooth skin like that guy, man?
Yeah, that was one of the first things that happened when you're talking about smooth skin. Is when I started inhaling the Brown's gas, my psoriasis, which was a thick white on my elbows, knees, and feet, started to peel off like a snake shedding its skin. That was within the first few weeks. and that was very disconcerting to have pieces of your skin just peeling off, and but underneath was baby smooth skin. It was so I thought, oh, it doesn't hurt or anything, so whatever. And I just kept inhaling, and all kinds of other things were happening in my body as well. So yeah.
Um, how how quickly like did you notice effects and changes for people, for everybody out there, and like
Well,
what type of changes like would you expect in your normal habits when using this?
Well, a lot of people notice a lot more energy right to begin with. They're a lot more focused. It's one of the reasons I inhale when I'm at the computer, because if I'm not inhaling, then over a period of time, my brain just gets sluggish, and I start to think, oh, I don't really want to do that. I'll put this email aside for tomorrow. But if I'm inhaling the Brown's gas, it just goes hour after hour, everything's alert. And the first time I inhaled, that's a similar thing that happened. I didn't sleep that night. It wasn't a coffee buzz or anything like that, but I was wide awake and alert all night from only 15 minutes of inhaling at that particular time. So and now I inhale over 8 hours a day, so it's quite a bit more than the average person would. But if they want to get that kind of inhalation time done, there's no reason why a person can't inhale while you're sleeping. And to mitigate severe ailments like autoimmune diseases, cancer, Parkinson's, ALS, all of those kind of things, you do need those hours. You need to keep your blood saturated with the Brown's gas for at least 8 hours a day. So back to what happened to me immediately was I was alert, and it keeps me alert. Now my wife, my current wife, it's just amazing. But at 15 minutes at night, she inhaled. She had the best night's sleep she could remember. So exactly the opposite in the same household. So people are going to experience different things depending on how their body is reacting once it gets the nutrition it needs. So I felt things like better energy, and I started inhaling in the morning so that I could sleep at nights. And then eventually, when my body got used to it, I was able to inhale at night 24/7 if I want, without any issues at all. And that's pretty much universal. When you first start inhaling, it's like if you were on a fast for a month, like a water fast for a month, and then you don't break a fast like that with a 7-course meal. Your body's going to get sick. So the same sort of reactions can happen with people when they start inhaling the Brown's gas. They can feel weirdnesses, I call it. So but some people can just jump right in. It's quite there's no way of knowing. Some people can't even take a few seconds, and they'll start noticing a headache, for example. This is very rare. I've heard it 3 times, but it can happen. And so you have to inhale just a little bit, and then on a consistent basis, you can start building up your time until it can go. And that's the thing we're discovering with the people who get a headache, for example, is that their body is trying to heal something in their head. And the bodies are intelligent. So when you're inhaling or adjusting the water that you've bubbled with the gas, your body decides where the hydrogen and energy goes to heal. If you apply it topically, you decide where it goes. So that's the kind of the protocols and methodology that
And inside of our brain, we have glia and we have neurons and we have receptors. So these glia are like water memory cells. It's just pretty much like water based type of cells, millions of them. And this hydrogen is affecting them. It's actually restoring them, resetting them, electrifying them, also purifying them, because as we know, when you have this is interesting, when we see Dr. Emoto's research on water and how water can store sound and energy, emotions, and that translates into our brain and what we see through our visual cortex, and how this audible nature of our brain perceives reality too, in all these different frequencies. So we have the frequencies of our phone, the satellites, and everything from the radio waves, and all these different mini micro waves that we can't hear, these micro frequencies we can't hear, affecting the water patterns in our brain, and actual disturbing these water cells. It's actually causing pollutant. It's when you look at Dr. Emoto's research and you see that water can be turned very stagnant, muddy, and gross and stuff from hate. So we see this metal music promoting hate, the Hollywood devil music promoting hate, the movies promoting hate. Everybody has water cells that are being very, very polluted by nature, and it just circles back to what we started with, harmony, and how fucking this fucking government and these occultic societies have really started making everything disharmonious, and really started targeting us from the inside. And it's not just from the technologies, but it's also the nature of us. The water cells inside of our brain are being healed through these brown gases. So what it's doing is that it's not just repairing it and electrolyzing it, it's actually restoring it with good energy, with pure thoughts, pure consciousness, pure ether. And so when we see it I see it in a spiritual way. I see everything in a spiritual way, man. When I look at it, I see that these water cells in our brain, these millions of water cells, are being filled with good ether instead of bad ether. And you know, and in some essence, if we just believe what Hollywood is telling us about how they're straight up targeting dark ether into people, and putting dark ether, dark matter, dark energy, dark spirit, straight up dark energy into people, we can see how there's like this wickedness that's spawning in people. Well, this is restoring it. These type of things, I bet for sure, if you're on Brown's gas for a day, and you probably won't even think about cussing for the most part. You won't even think about like going and cheating on your wife, or you probably won't even think about these type of things that are really disharmonious. Be having road rage, and going beating someone up for running you off the road, like we're seeing all over for some reasons. People are being put in a disharmonious state, so it's messing with their emotions, it's messing with their actions, it's messing with their daily habits, their rituals, how well they wake up, how well they go to sleep, how well they eat. Because now you see this disharmonious nature. People are so addicted to fast food, they're so addicted to the artificial rhythms, the rhythms that aren't them. It's rhythms being fed by these satellites, by these darker spirits that being attached to what the foods are being mixed with, if it's human flesh or if it's just some genetically modified meat that's being created in the lab. It's definitely not human. It's definitely not some harmony. Harmony. It's definitely not in harmony. I'm thinking ahead of what I'm saying, but I know what I'm like. It's everybody.
Harmonious. Yes.
I'm sorry for speaking so fast, guys, but it empowers me to think about this conversation, because I know how to tackle it, and I know how to see it out. And stuff like this Brown's gas technology is putting harmony back inside of our brain, and back. It's putting. I bet it's actually putting you back on the circadian rhythm, where you wake up with wake up with the Earth's energies, with the sunrise naturally, with the electricity of Earth, rising through 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and you feel that energy rush. Am I right?
Actually, you are very correct in that
I know.
particular case.
I'm very
I
sure.
tend to go to bed 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and I tend to get up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I
I
imagine.
don't have an alarm clock. I haven't had an alarm clock. Well, I guess my cell phone has one if I was to use it, but I haven't used an alarm clock for almost 30 years.
Oh,
And I've been inhaling the Brown's gas though since 2016, March of 2016. And what you were saying reminded me of something else that I had mentioned before, transmutation. And it actually becomes applicable now when we're talking about the Brown's gas and the deuterium depleted water. It turns out that when you burn Brown's gas, the what you get out of it is a flame, and it's a hydrogen and oxygen flame. So you're literally making water. You're making new water, and the new water is programmable. You can program it to be almost anything. You can make gold. You can make virtually any nutrient. You can make it like I even set a jug of this new water next to a jug of orange juice in the refrigerator. And when I went to drink the new water, it tasted like orange juice. So, and there was a fellow by the name of Joseph Bender and a friend of mine called Norman Wooten who did some experiments where they took the new water, and this was an accidental experiment, which is one of the ways a lot of things get discovered anyway. And they put the new water on a shelf next to a mineral mixture that had like 50 minerals in it. And I don't have it here. Oh, I do have it here. That's good. Okay. So I'm not used to being in my own. Yes, very good. Okay, so this is the vitamin mineral mixture. There's 50 different minerals on there that was sitting on the shelf, and this was the bottle of new water. And you can see sediment. I couldn't shook it up, but you can see some sediment in the bottom there. So this was sediment. This was absolutely pure water. There was nothing in this bottle but absolutely H2O, water. Okay, pure new water. And this bottle was sitting next to this bottle in such a way that sunlight was shining through this bottle imprinting onto this bottle, and sediment started to form in this bottle, which was pure water. Have you ever seen water forming sediment spontaneously?
This ties to the pyramid's resonance theory, where if the pyramid is producing such high pure energy, it produces a resonantial effect that's healing the rest and actually putting the energy patterns and the energy codes into everything else that's around it. And so this water is highly resonant, extremely resonant.
It accepts the resonances of virtually everything. See, new water, the water that you see in your whatever, like say if you get a bucket of water out of a spring or something, generally that's water that's been around for billions of years, depending on what timeline you use, but for a long time. And it's been absorbing energy because the water absorbs all kinds of energies, not just light energy. There was a fellow by the name of Luc Montagnier that was able to take water that had DNA in it and record the frequencies of that water, transmit them over a telephone line to an entirely different lab hundreds of miles away, imprinted those frequencies on another jug of water, and had the DNA form that was in the first jug of water. So, and there's also been experiments, I think it was actually one of the universities in Washington that did this, if I recall correctly, that showed that the old saying goes, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, I think the chicken did, because God created everything, but that's my opinion. And I think that everything else came from that, because it's been shown that we can change our own DNA. Thinking people and organisms can change their own DNA depending on environmental factors and stuff. Like kangaroo says, I need a longer tail to balance myself. So the next generations of kangaroos have longer tails because they were able to change their DNA.
Is it L-U-C, Montagnier?
L-U-C, yeah, Montier. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he's a French virologist and stuff?
Yes, he got the Nobel Peace Prize for discovering the AIDS virus. So but then he went on to a whole bunch of other similar DNA
analysis
research.
And stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. I'm right here just researching it. So okay,
he went way beyond Emoto as far as the various scientific proofs that you could do. Emoto did a lot of things where he's impressing information on water and then freezing it and see the crystalline structure, and you could see the beautiful crystals when you transmitted love and kindness and those kind of things toward water. And as you pointed out before, if you transmitted hate and anger, it formed globules. Water wouldn't even crystallize. It would just form globules.
Muddy.
Yeah.
So in turn, Luke is saying that we can program our own DNA?
Yes.
And how does that work?
Well, Luke wasn't saying that. That was a university over, I think it was
University of Washington. My bad.
But Luc Montagnier showed that you could transmit the information, DNA information in water from one source to another over telephone lines.
What?
The DNA and the water, the first jug of water, I'm just using this as an example of a jug. He recorded the frequencies of that and then transmitted the recording to another jug hundreds of miles away in another lab and the DNA that was in this water started to form in this water.
So the crystalline structure, the same crystalline pattern, which is why we shouldn't be listening to this evil rock music if they're doing cultic seances with devil symbols and devil sounds. And which weirdly, now I'm thinking about this stupid liquid death. Have you seen this liquid death? The waters are here in America.
I've seen the bottles. I haven't.
Okay, on their website, they have an official saying that they have a satanic coven who does seances on the water, all of it, all of the water. And
Yeah,
people are drinking it, thinking it's I'm cool.
Yeah.
Fucking it infuriates me. I don't even so this is funny. When I do delivery services for like these Instacart Ubers and all this stuff, like food services. I'm a food deliverer. I do people's elderly people's orders and stuff most of the time. And when liquid death comes up, I try to just reject it. I like when the item comes up, I just say out of stock. I try to, but if for the most part, I don't want to ruin my score. But it's in my head. I'm like, dude, I don't want to touch this can. Even I don't like. I can just tell that there's something dark and sinister, and if it's programming DNA and things, I can see why even this Monster Energy drink could be a problem with the Hebrew 666 all over it, right? It's
Yep. Yep.
What about Coca-Cola?
Well, Coca-Cola isn't good for you just because of the sugar content, let alone all the other stuff. At least they took the Coke out. The Coca-Cola no longer has cocaine in it.
No. Well, they still have cocaine. They so what they do is that they remove some of the alkaloids. So in the original Coca-Cola, I believe they provided all the alkaloids, and in probably this one is probably only like 7 out of 17. What they did do recently in America, though, they took out the high fructose corn syrup. And so they replaced it with cane sugar. And so from what I know from Coca-Cola, yes, it's the cola nut actual plant, then it's the cocaine mixture. So it's both of them with sugar and then whatever else. And so I'm talking about like the resonancy. You think like that would destroy people's? Yeah, probably.
Well, I don't know what resonance that they put on it, but absolutely, the nutritional value is negative. So it's going to destroy your digestive system if you drink a lot of Coke.
Interesting. But then these plants put us back in harmony. Like let's just say hypothetical people, smoking weed or mushrooms.
We get back to that's right.
And
There's a lot
so
of medicinal plants, and the medicinal plants can be surprising. For example, you're talking about the divine pines. Well, for example, when I was in Alaska, the spruce trees have a lot of vitamin C. A lot of people don't know that, but the spruce needles have vitamin C, especially the new ones in the spring. But the
spruce needle tea.
Yeah. So these kind of things all over the world. When God made the planet, He made it so that people could exist everywhere, even in the most northern climes and southern everything. The nutrition they needed to get everything they need is there. It's pretty amazing.
When we look at these Mexican cenotes and things like this and these different water pathways around the world, do you think that okay, it's not even a thing. They understood the harmony of these, right? And so do you think they felt these type of energies that could be produced with the browns? I mean, like the ethereal, do you think that this is part of our ancient past, like a lot of the water this is rest in peace, Jonathan Boots. He put me on a lot of this information, and I want to continue the water research. I proposed to him a book. He didn't get to follow through with it. Man, it reminds me a lot like the water technologies of the past they're more prevalent than what we're being told, right?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things that water can do, and I remember a scientist saying, "Oh, we know everything about water because we know the triple point, and we know the boiling and the freezing and how much energy it can store, heat energy it can store, enthalpy and stuff." And so they figured they knew everything about water. They knew almost nothing about water. Water is absolutely fascinating, and we're just now touching the very tip of the iceberg of how much we know about water. There's so much, and it's simply like what you were talking about with the glia cells, the glia memory cells. They're made that you can store an immense amount of information in water, and the scientific community is trying to do that. They're trying to find the ways that they can store more information in matrix of various kinds, and they're finding that water is definitely a matrix that can store information. It's also very malleable. It gets rid of the information it has and gathers more information very quickly, so that you can reprogram the water very quickly. So any water that has a lot of hate in it, or has been satanically implied, here's something you could do: just bless that can of liquid death, and just pour your love and energy into it. It won't deplete you of love and energy, because you're a conduit. Then it's your conduit conducting it from elsewhere, and you're pouring it into this. And when they drink it, they won't be getting their death anymore. They'll be getting love and life.
Um, I'm thinking just like, the Mayans and the Incas and the Aztecs, if I'm correct, I believe I had heard recently that they actually imprinted memory and imprinted things into water. Am I correct? Do you know much about this?
I don't know about them doing it, but I do know that it's
Some
possible.
cultures. Some of the cultures, ancient cultures, yes, they actually practice this imprinting water. And from what I know, it was like things were passed down through generations like this. There was certain areas, these divine rivers or divine waters or divine little pools and things like this, where it was very, very sacred. And this is interesting now I'm thinking about this. So if it's divine water, if it's this harmonious water, this is the first time I've ever thought about this, and you might be shocked. In the Bible, remember John, the actual script. So in the book of John, there's a scripture of I believe that's banned. It says, and then he stirred up. Then they stirred up the waters, and an angel came out, and these waters are very specific. These were the blessed waters. This was a very specific water they were talking about. Very a divine water, in a sense, a very harmonious
Water
spiritual
has
water.
a lot of references in the Bible. One that I realized is when Jesus turned water into wine. They had the party and they were running out of wine, so he turned water into wine. So water can be just about anything, and it can have the memories of just about anything. It's pretty astonishing.
You think it's a portal, in a sense, a spiritual portal?
It could be. We're in our physical manifestation here. We're just the scum on the top of an energy field. Yeah.
Because definitely, now, this is interesting. People are very, very mystified, even in the military and all these communities, where we look at the pictures of UFOs, the videos of UFOs are coming out of the water, and there is like this thing that's happening to the water, and it almost seems like it's a portal. So water has extremely high resonancy, and it can be tuned to different frequencies. It Elaborate with me. How might this, like, I'm elaborating on my thought. Could you see that these UFOs are manipulating the water to create portals and things like this?
I wouldn't know. That's
No.
as good a hypothesis as I've heard.
Right. I mean, even because if it's referencing to the Bible, where and then the waters were stirred up and an angel came out. If it's a spirit, if it's this other physical, if it's this other density of matter, if we're only in the third density and this fourth, fifth, sixth density has this different vibrational capabilities where it can go through these things in water, or this transcendent, this high frequency. I don't know. I'm trying to put the right words, but I know where my thought is with this. The water is. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Did you ever hear of the Philadelphia experiment? with
Yeah.
Tesla.
Oh. No, yeah. Yeah, I know about this.
Okay, so the idea was that they were trying to make a warship disappear so that it was invisible, and they discovered that when they phased the warship out of this out of this reality, they met other beings that were in the reality that they phased to. And when a ship phased back, and people could walk through the bulkheads, they could walk through the walls and stuff like that when they were in this other reality. And when they phased back, there were actually people that had an arm or a leg in the middle of a wall. It was quite the experiment. But yes,
Do you
it's
know how
very
that?
similar to what you're
Okay,
talking
do
about.
you know how that experiment was? Do you know the technology?
I don't. All I know is that they were using the Tesla alternating current technology at frequencies to cause this to happen. They made a city disappear. Similar.
What?
Yeah,
What city?
I don't remember the name of the town. It wasn't a city. It
It was a
was a
small
town,
town.
like a military installation kind of thing.
Mhm.
But still, they made it disappear. So if you're flying over it, you couldn't see it. The idea was to again camouflage, but and they didn't have the
Oh,
same kind of effects as the ship did, because the ship was on water, you see, and I think there was a different things happened, but it phased the ship right out of reality, our reality.
but so the city was only invisible, or was it no longer? It's no longer in history. I mean, it's no longer there.
It as soon as they shut down the equipment, it became visible again. It was,
Oh,
yeah,
like
and I don't know whether they phased it away or they're able to bend light or whatever the situation was, but
it's like the show Stargate Atlantis, where they had put the bubble and they made it invisible and stuff.
right.
Have you ever watched the TV show Eureka? It's based in Washington State, where it's a secret military city, and they have seasons of it, and they show crazy level technology, DARPA level and stuff.
I've seen a few episodes, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I watched it and I was mind blown because it talks about things that are only conspiracy theory, but it shows them like this is this is what the military and government's been working on and been using in their own labs for 100+ years.
Yeah. I think
So
sometimes they show these kind of movies so they can point and say, "Oh, well, see, that's sci-fi."
yeah, and a little bit of as the cult knows the revelation of the method. That's that thing too. So the Philadelphia experiment is definitely it was started in water and then it ended in water, correct?
Yes.
Uh, w- but Bermuda Triangle, the Dragon's Triangle, where we see the water being phased to a different freak. Is it? Do you think? What do you think?
I
Do
don't
you
know
think it's
what's
just the
happening.
area?
Yeah, they all are happening in water, over water, as far as I know. I think there's three located symmetrically around the planet. The We're familiar mostly with the Bermuda Triangle because we're right here.
Mhm.
But shoot, flights of airplanes have disappeared. Many ships, a couple of them have come back, minus their crews. For example, it's like crazy stuff. I don't know what's exactly happening. I I do know that in the Bermuda Triangle there was a theory, because carbon dioxide can be stored underground, and in such a way that if it heats up, great big bubbles come up, and it can actually, when these bubbles come up, it can actually cause a ship to sink because but that wouldn't affect an airplane. So I don't
But
know.
that wouldn't affect the electromagnetic satellites and the radars and shut down the computer systems
No,
either.
no. Something is happening there, resonant with the planet, maybe the electromagnetic fields. Who knows?
Do you buy into the idea that there's been like from Russian researchers and other people, other even governments who don't want to hide this shit. They're like, there's pyramids and stuff down there. There's technologies and stuff down there.
There is pyramids in the Caribbean for sure. I've seen pictures of them. They found them. At one point, they thought it was Atlantis. Now they're saying they may have found Atlantis off the coast of Australia, but I don't know.
No, that would be Lemuria.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. So the and what's it? They brought back a crystal skull from that expedition in the Caribbean, um,
From
and
underneath the waters?
underneath the water. Yeah, that has properties. I can't remember what it is right at the moment. Probably research it.
These ancient schools are very mysterious because I know that there's a few crystal schools, and interestingly, they also have memory imprinted in them. They have extreme amount of memory imprinted in them. They have I forgot how many schools found already, five or six or seven, something like that. And it's very much like Indiana Jones and what they're saying in a sense. Then the idea of these schools being tied to a much more mysterious entity or divine nature being, like the elongated schools that are being found in Peru. These do you think do you think that the crystal schools are from an entity or just created? No idea.
No idea. That we're finding these things shows that humans or humanoids have been on the planet for a very, very, very long time, longer than we know.
Right. Because the ancient cultures talk about the naga and the serpent beings and the entities of the actual sea, the oceanic type of mermaid type of reptilian type of creatures that are known throughout all cultures. And I'm thinking Hollywood kind of shows you a little bit when they show these things like Aquaman. They show these underground cities, bases and stuff. Like, it's very, very, very interesting. You think that there's some truth to that?
Yeah.
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 You think that we also got the technology from them? Because that's in some sense that some of this technology is said to have been given to us from them. Because they were the survivors of the last few calamities across the world,
cataclysms, whatever it was that happened. And I think our civilization is reaching a point where we could have a similar thing happen. I've seen theories that the craters on the moon, they were showing how, and on Mars too, come to think of it, they were showing how those could possibly have been nuclear explosions, and as a pattern over the planet, where those associated with what used to be water and stuff, the nuclear power plants. And if we have a nuclear cataclysm, we could have a similar thing happen on this planet. And then, as far as Atlantis and stuff goes, it shows how they talk about how the continent sank under the ocean, supposedly due to the technologies that they had and were fighting with.
And relatively, when we look at the water of the other planets, we got the three major. We got Neptune, we got Uranus and Jupiter, and they have some gases, they have some waters, and these things in ancient history are referenced to be like the home of the gods.
Yes, Venus as well. Yep.
Well, Venus is interesting because it's the only planet that spins backwards and spins very slowly, and it's one of the only planets to also be referenced to the anti-spirit and Lucifer and things like that, which might be true, because if it's going backwards and so slow, like, send them there. send them to hell. Because that place isn't moving. You're gonna be cold there. It's gonna be barren or extremely hot or something.
Acid type atmosphere and stuff. Yeah, it would be hell.
Oh, this is mighty interesting. Okay, more about this, more about connections to water. This idea that we have like water pathways to it's not even an idea. There's already proof from science that underneath Earth there's an second Earth where the water goes through, and it's an inner Earth. You familiar with these researches of the inner Earth and the water wave going to it?
I've heard many stories about that. Even you could go back even 100 years, and they were talking about Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yes, that's based on science expeditions.
Yeah.
Do you think that Well, I mean, because these oceanic places, they say that our water system is connected to an even deeper underground system, right? Right,
Yes,
a
yes.
much larger water system, and it's so weird, but like down there in Florida, it was that History Channel guy, and he was the expedition dude, and he went down there to I don't know, the the Bay of Mexico, or something like that, or somewhere along the coast, and he saw the second river underneath the water, and he started recording it, and mysteriously vanished, and he was told that this wasn't really allowed and liked, and you, if there's oh shit, it could why do you think that there is like that? Why do you think that there is if the second layer of the ocean underneath us? Why do you think it's a different density?
I don't know, but if we refer back to the Bible again, they had the firmament. Remember the firmament? And so this could be tying into something along those lines. I also think that it's possible that our atmosphere actually had a lot more hydrogen in it before the firmament disappeared in Noah's time. I think that there might have been an ice thing around the planet where
Well, because
the
I look back, as you mentioned with the Bible, I look back at there's these ancient arts of that firmament, and then there's a giant sticking in his hand. So a living being outside of the firmament, much larger than us.
Hmm.
This
Who
is
knows? We
interesting.
all might just be a experiment in some cosmic petri dish.
Well, I mean, what are we doing with our own scientists are doing that themselves? They're creating lab made brains, lab made bodies. Uh, it's weird, the state of this android system, the cloning system that's happening with the government right now in the middle, and all that. Like they're literally creating biological organisms from human flesh, and they're saying they're human, and there's no soul. There's no soul. This isn't born from a woman. This is born from a petri dish and two scientists rubbing each other's little droppers on each other, like weirdos. Oh yeah, here, you want to touch droppers? Yeah. These guys, I don't know what's their deal. Why do they want to like recreate humans and not the natural way of? They want to like put them in a lab and create these genetically modified humans. They want to create the perfect human, right? But it's like a demon. Who knows?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Who knows?
so what would you say is happening on that level? Because people are made out of water, but if they're being created in a lab sense, what human essence of that water, or what human essence is missing in that?
I think, first of all, I believe that even animals have souls. I believe they might
I
be
think so too.
simple and stuff. I don't, and if you read a book called The Secret Life of Plants, that is a classic. Definitely should be on everybody's to-do reading list. Um, you'll see that even plants have intelligence, and they can recognize people. Like the person that comes and feed them every day, they rejoice when they see the person is coming to give them water and nutrition. But if they see a person that hurts them, like tears a leaf every day, walks up and tears a leaf, they've shown that the plant tries to just gets all scared and tries to pull away. The plant does the best they can to avoid those people that hurt them. So um, I think that anytime you can get a self-aware organism, no matter what it is, even a computer, you're going to end up with some kind of a soul attached to that. Because again, we're the fluff debris on the top of the energy that all of this comes from. The intelligence and everything comes from the yep, that's it. The Secret Life of Plants. The I think that we don't manifest, or we do manifest in this physical reality, but we don't necessarily entirely exist here. Our soul exists in a whole nother level.
Yeah. So Peter Tompkins and Christopher Bird.
Right.
The art looks pretty cool. It looks fun. It has a flower
Yeah.
smiling, and
Christopher.
and
Yeah, Yeah, go
And
ahead.
you know, all the ancient cultures looked at life like animism was a real thing. And you know, it's so interesting if you read the Bible and you see you match it up with how nature really is. Like you can see that too. Like there's life and everything. There's truly life and everything. So this Brown's gas could be applied to animals. I mean the water, the hydrogen, the stuff. It can be given to like animals and plants, right?
And plants. Yes, if you give it to plants in soil, they grow 3 times faster. And if you give it to plants in hydroponics, they grow
Shoot,
10
sorry.
times
Sorry, buddy.
faster. So you can get 10 times the crop out of a hydroponics outfit if you use the Brown's gas. And I have yet to convince some cannabis user to actually try it.
Dude. So things that are really water absorbent, like bamboo, tomatoes, and things like that, you could actually see even a bigger. What about
Not
tomatoes?
bigger, faster. The
Faster.
genetics are the genetics. It'll grow to its normal
Okay.
size. The fruit will, but it'll fruit out faster. It'll grow to its faster to its size where it can actually fruit out and become mature faster. Yes.
Stronger too, right? The vines or no? Like how?
Yeah, probably healthy
So
because again, it's the hydrogen. They're hydrocarbon organisms. They get their carbon from the carbon dioxide in the air, and they get their hydrogen from essentially the water and nutrition and stuff like you're giving them.
and now we're even going a layer deeper. It's probably healing the soil and the mycorrhizal, right? Strengthening the mycorrhizal.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Have you seen effects with that?
The soil is essentially the digestive system of the plants.
Yeah.
Like we carry our own digestive
I'm a
system
nerd.
around
I love
inside
this.
of us, but the plant can't get the nutrition directly from the minerals. It requires that interface between the microorganisms and the plant and the minerals, that microorganism interface. So when you're putting in the Brown's gas, you're helping feed those microorganisms so that they can do their job and help the plant's digestive systems work better.
Which also, if we have, this is awesome. If we have a living garden with all these different herbs, trees, plants, fruits, veggies working in a symbiotic nature, you can see a beautiful, pristine type of living garden, right? And I'm guessing, let's just say, do you apply this to your garden? Do you apply this to your backyard and when in the summer and stuff? So like,
First of all, yes, and second of all, I don't want you to look at my backyard right now.
No.
Because
so I'm thinking
we tore it up a bunch of construction.
Oh, that's horrible.
Replant. But the stuff that we have done before is growing amazingly.
What I was gonna say is that I could bet that when you apply this, in your garden, you can see the butterflies, you can see the bees, you can see all the healthy ladybugs, all the healthy little bugs come back.
Yes, I had a ladybug land on my hand yesterday. It was pretty amazing.
I saw a video just last night about what was it? Someone releasing like 1,000 ladybugs into their garden for to help. Like, look at this beautiful thing. Yeah, it was.
I've done that, and 2 days later there wasn't a ladybug to be seen. They went off to somebody else's garden.
they were like, there's freedom. So yeah, you could see the hummingbirds probably start coming back. There's a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
The true beauty of nature, and like so your garden grows faster. Everything.
Yeah, and we plant plants that attract hummingbirds and various butterflies and other organisms.
Do you give them this water in their feeders?
I haven't. That's a good idea.
You should, dude. Yeah, because I can see that the singing birds would want to come and drink out of that.
I'm thinking that would be an excellent experiment to put up bird waterer, hummingbird feeders side by side. Some with just regular spring water, and some
and see which one they go to.
Gas water, and see which they go to.
Ooh.
My cats choose the Brown's gas water.
Dude, do it.
2 identical dishes. In fact, you could set them so that the dish with the regular water is in front of them, and the dish with the brown gas water is behind it. They will go around the regular water to drink the brown gas water.
So how does this work? Okay, this is interesting. How would this work for performance animals? Like, let's say a horse rider wanted to give this to their horse.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How would this work?
It works just as well.
It would allow them to
Because
produce more
because it doesn't
nitrogen.
go-
The horse would be able to produce more testosterone and nitrogen, like off and burning, right?
Well, more energy, more
Yeah.
health. Everything about the body works better when
Would
it's got
increase the bone density.
I don't know. I haven't measured that, but athletic.
How do you feel about your bone density?
My bone density? I haven't had it measured, but I think
No,
it's fine.
but you, no. Would you say you feel your probably bone density feels stronger than before?
I definitely don't think it feels weaker.
Well, you
I
are
do know
aging.
that I heal a lot faster. I sprained my shoulder a few years back, which would normally have taken 3 weeks to heal, where I would have gotten my strength and flexibility back without pain. And in 3 days, that sprained shoulder healed. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Okay. I'm thinking totally in all sorts of things. So if we like made tea and kombucha out of this, have you made things like kombucha? Have you made like these different like
The problem with
alcohol?
making alcohol and or heating the water to
No,
make tea
that wouldn't work.
is as you heat the water, the
Mm.
gases are ejected. That's why you boil water to make clear ice cubes. If you want ice cubes with no bubbles in them, you use boiled water, freeze boiled water. But and so in any of those things where you mix into something, you pretty much it's gone.
So that's a limitation. No boiling it, and once you boil it, you pretty much like
So if you get new water and you keep it cool, it'll absorb the most brown gas, and you bless it every way you know how. You'll get the most healthful drink on the planet.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Have people made like health products with brown gas water? Like, let's just say hypothetically,
Not yet that I know.
like lotion or
There's
hair
been people that want
oil.
to try it, but at the moment I haven't.
What do you think would happen?
I think it would do well. I think that there would be a shelf life because the hydrogen tends to go out through everything. But
Right.
there are people that are trying to make various salves and gels and stuff for beauty and what have you. They haven't reported back to me, but there are people that are starting to try it.
So could this be turned into some type of tinctures or oils?
You can bubble it in an oil, but then it tends to become more like a gel. And tinctures tend to be with alcohol and stuff, so not so much.
I'm thinking of all the different ways like it could be applied, because water can be put. Water is so universal that there's so many different.
Water is nature's universal solvent.
And so combining the two of there's no combining the two of brown's gas with the water carburetor.
Yeah. There is.
What? It's like a super.
Brown's gas with water carburetor. You said.
Yeah.
There is.
Can talk about that.
Mm.
What happens?
What I did was I was combining gasoline with the brown's gas with water injection of various kinds, and so I was still burning some fossil fuel, carbon-based fuel. I should stop calling it fossil fuel because carbon fuel is not squished dinosaurs. We've been showing that the Earth actually produces and refills oil wells that have gone dormant. If you just leave them a while, they'll start to fill back up with.
It's like the rock sediments and being squished over, but also different type of minerals and things within the soils, the rocks, everything like just being squished and it's leaking.
It isn't just that. I think there's
what do you think it is?
Transmutation that's happening in the planet. Now, that's not to say that coal seams, for example, aren't organic matter that's squished into being coal. I used to work in a coal mine. when you're breaking apart the coal, you could actually see the imprints of leaves, for example. So you know
Right.
that there was a leaf there, and it all got carbonized. But yeah, but I don't think that dinosaurs got all squished up and have made the oil reservoirs that we have.
You don't think that well, I have a funny idea about dinosaurs. I think that they're the Smithsonian and their little organizations and peoples, they created that term only to deter you from the history of what they really are, of dragons, of Nephilim, of ancient entities, of these demigods, of these creatures that were created by these creator beings that are mentioned in all the texts around the world. You know, these Egyptian has falcon headed people, has bird headed people, has dog headed people, has all sorts of different animal type of hybrids, and that's a remnant of the ancient history that is trying to be whitewashed over by the Smithsonian and their little League of Zionists, whatever the heck it is, whoever it is, whatever it is. They're trying to hide and deter us that these fossil fuels are no, they're from dinosaurs. Yeah, just that's a blanket term. It's a very, very basic term if you like really, like this, I think that's what it's truly hiding these ancient beings and the remnants of their bodies, and when we look at the videos of how a lot of these mountains are shaped in the old, like very, very large mushroom patterns. They have faces, they have body patterns, they look like ancient plants, they look like ancient animals that are very large. The skeletal structures are all there. We can see the remnants all across every continent. It seems like there's giant bodies that were petrified over and grown over, and when we look at the past and the ancient cultures, that it says in the tales the world was flashed out by like these powerful weapons, and the rains of lasers and nuclear bombs went down, and there's artwork of it. And so even now we can see in some of these deserts there's the petrified glasses. That's super strange. It only happens when ancient nuclear explosion would have happened, and that's across multiple continents. And so we see that these these geographical features all across the world are much more ancient, and they have a name to them. But the names that Smithsonian and these leagues of BSers are given to us are very basic and blanketed. They're like, oh yeah. That's what it is, man. Don't worry about it. That's just dinosaurs, dude. Dude, you're funny if you think that's anything else, man. What are you, conspiracy theorist, bro? It's like, it's dumb, right? It's dumb. You have no research. You never went to college, bro. Like, you know what? I'm tired of this. You only got to college because your daddy gave you a check, boo. It's strange, man. The oils and these things are being produced. The crystals all around the world are. It seems, not even seems, it is the body parts and the blood and the different things of the ancient world that were petrified, that are now being squished and melted, and all sorts of different. It's a mix of it all.
Yeah, there's a lot that's happened on the planet, and the Nephilim and stuff were definitely here. We don't know the history. We're trying to figure it out. I give as much credit to one theory as another. I wasn't there. I don't know. I tend, as an inventor, to deal with what is.
Well,
And
it's just that we can look at these cultures. Let's just say like the Hopi, or these different people out there who say, "Oh yeah, for thousands of generations, we say we came from these stars, these three-headed stars, these dragon-headed stars. We know exactly. We don't have scopes, and it took these League of Zionists, with their little fancy little computers and telescopes, into the 1950s to be like, well, all right, man. Well, they're a little bit right. Well, they're not lying." And then they're like, it's mysticism, mythology. I mean, it's weird, right? Because these cultures all around the world, even like how we referenced a little bit earlier, it might have been on the podcast or before, how ayahuasca and these different tribes around the worlds, they're like, hey, we know about these drugs and healing powers of these things. We don't need no telescope, we don't need no science, we don't need no BS like that. It came from our ancestors that for thousands of years, and we came and they came from the stars. Even though here in the Native Americans, as on the West Coast where I am in the Pacific Northwest, they talk about the star people, and we um as Graham Hancock says, we are a species of amnesia. That is a for sure thing, where it seems like every decade there's this, just like washing over of history, and every 100 years a bigger washing over of history, and if we just like look at what the ancients are saying, it's not so much of a mythology and not so much of a just a like a mystery. It's a very big picture that like we have to kind of just put all together, where we know who and what cultures are speaking with love and speaking of this energy, of this sacred energy of the peace and the wisdom and this ethereal energy, where then there's these other cults who are very these other leagues, these other richmen who are very very disharmonious, and what they're saying is very disruptive to history, and they're trying to destroy it, and like so these gases, so we're talking about this comes from gasoline and fuel, how this whole last 10 minutes was all from gas and stuff. I That's what I really think that these things are, man, that it's from these ancient beings, for sure, dude. Could you see it any other way? Like some of these things that we're finding, coal, gas, diesel, whatever the heck else, like deep down in the layers, ores and all sorts of different stuff, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually, the planet is actually generating those
Some of it.
various those things. Yeah, it's actually
What do you think?
transmutating
How do
down.
you think it's generating it?
I think primary water. It starts as primary water, which is the H2O, which can be programmed to be anything, including a fuel. And I see, and I think that's how they're getting vehicles to run on water, where they can get the water pure enough and program it so that it acts just like a fuel, gasoline or diesel or something like that. So I think that once that happens, and especially if you look at the periodic table, everything starts with the hydrogen,
But they're
and
missing a lot of stuff in the
and
periodic table too.
that's true too. And it evolves or devolves down. It gets heavier and heavier as it loses its energy. So the gold, for example, is not a very energetic substance or material, and 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 so I think our physical reality comes as hydrogen being at the very top, the thing that just flips over between the realities, if you will, because they've shown that hydrogen can appear and disappear in space. So then as it devolves into our physical reality, the elements that it forms get heavier and heavier. And I think that the planet is generating the oils and a lot of different things down inside itself.
So what would they all right, so the natural resources that we supposedly are trying to mine off other planets and asteroids and stuff, like, well, how do you think this ties into it? What do you think what do you think what do you think they're really trying to do?
No, I think they're probably trying to do that and find more sources of resources that happen faster.
But wouldn't these be of different residencies if these are not from our planet, and like we wouldn't even be compatible with them?
That's an interesting thought I never had before.
Right, because I mean, we see the remnants of the moon and Mars, and like these patterns are different, and Mars even looks super petrified and dead, like from nuclear explosions and stuff. So like it's not, because they say, like, and it's obvious, right? If we take the seed from here, if we take a human, an animal, whatever from here, and we just try to put it on Mars, it's gonna die. It's just the composure of the atmosphere and the whole whatever planet is different. And so there wouldn't be the same type of patterns that these guys are trying to pull from comets. It seems more like what I don't see how we can actually be using them unless it's we're creating a new technology to use those with.
Huh?
Well,
Couldn't say.
yeah. So this has been about like 2.5 hours already, man. There's a few more things that maybe you want to talk on. Is there anything that you're working on that you got up and coming?
Well, I have an attachment for the Aquacure we call the micro bubbler, which turns any bathtub or hot tub into a healing spa. So like my wife had, she was a rock climber, for example, and so she had a lot of scars on her legs, and and those are all gone. It just really helped. Um, an experiment that I'm working on is the gravity wheel. Like we had talked to that before the video, before we started talking here, where I think I'm getting a lot closer on duplicating the technology that's been around for well over 100 years. They had working
This
gravity
Tesla's
wheels.
technology?
No,
Oh, well.
Tesla didn't work on gravity.
Well, oh, who you said it's been over 100 years. Who first
Yeah.
researched this?
That's a good question, and the name starts with a B, as I recall. It's not popping up into my head. This particular inventor, as the story goes, and it was written up by Newton, actually, um, who actually saw this wheel, as far as I understand it. They did a demonstration where they, back in those days, inventors had uh, patrons where
Is
they,
it Herman Potoknik?
no,
Then they say Werner von Braun perfected this.
So you are looking at bees, but it
Oh, Bauman? Bowman. Yeah, Bowman.
No, it's not
B.
Bowman.
No.
No, that's a different one. The anyway, they locked this wheel once they had it built. It was all secrecy how it was built, and they locked it in a room.
Bowman Jules? Bowman Jules?
Uh,
In 1922?
no, this was back in the even I think it was in the 1700s or something.
Okay, that's where the time period I'm looking.
So anyway, they locked it in a room for a month and came back, and it was still producing the same amount of power as it did when they locked the door. So it was a working wheel. And there's quite a few designs of gravity wheels, some of which I've proven to be not correct, and I'm learning more and more each time I build a new wheel. I find out why it doesn't work, and then I build a wheel that doesn't have that problem. And gradually, I think I'll have a working gravity wheel.
So how does this wheel work?
It just turns as long as you're in a gravity field. The working principle has to do with leverage. If you have a fulcrum like a teeter-totter and you put more weight on one side, it will tip, right? Okay, so imagine, for example, here's one iteration that we have. You have a wheel with grooves in it, so that as the weights come over the top, they go out to the outer part of the groove, so that now it's got a lot of leverage, and then as it goes on the bottom, it goes to the inner part of the groove, so it's closer to the axle. So all on one side of the wheel, the weights are very close to the axle, and on the other side of the wheel, the weights are very far away from the axle. And it takes very little energy to move horizontally in a gravity wheel. So rolling a roller on the road, if it's absolutely level, will roll for a long time. If you get a little bit of a grade, it'll roll slower up the hill till it loses its energy and then come back down. If it's going down, it'll roll faster. But if you're on a level field, a level road, it takes very little energy to move from one to the other. So imagine this wheel as it's turning, the axle being here, and the weights are coming here. Then you just run the weights across to the other side of the wheel without affecting the wheel, and put them on the other side on the same point that this one is going to be going down, so that one's going up. So by the time this one gets to this point, this one over here can go now across, and this one can go across over to the heavy side. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm listening. I've seen a gravity wheel, but I just wanted you to explain it for all my viewers and listeners out there, and so they understand it. So what are you trying to apply it to? What are you looking to apply it to?
Well, then I would use it to power a generator, so to make electricity. But it could be pumping water, or it's a primary mover. It could do
Within the Brown's gas machine. Yeah.
anything.
Like a self right? It's
There are gravity wheels that use heat. Shoot, the name just escaped me. There was a guy who built one in Florida, but the idea was to have. Well, you've seen these drinking bird things, for example, where the bird goes down and wets its nose, and it puts the fluid up into the rear end bulb, and then when that gets heavy enough, it flips back up again, and then as it cools, the liquid goes back up to the top. You can make gravity wheels, drinking bird type gravity wheels, where as the fluid container comes down around, the fluid is heated in a hot bath, or solar cells, solar magnifiers or something. You heat the bottom thing so the fluid goes up, and then the fluid is up. So this is light and that is heavy, and then it continues to turn that way. So there's lots of different ways to make gravity wheels, and some of them, like that one, are secondary wheels, where they're primary powered by the heat. The primary gravity wheel I call is primarily powered by the gravity, whereas the secondary gravity wheels are powered by electromagnetics or heat or some such thing like that.
So like what would people be looking to support and buy if, like, once if you wanted to put, like, how could they help, or what would they be looking forward to with once you make the gravity wheel?
If one is built, that gravity is very thin and you wouldn't get a lot of wattage out of it, but it would be something you could put in your basement, and it would create electricity day and night. Wouldn't matter. There isn't
Sick. How big is it?
Matter if the wind blows, or the sun shines, or the water flows.
Would you make micro versions for, like, a bird feeder, or like a some, like, for your animals and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Little systems. So, like, yeah, little devices, yeah, that'd be a cool little way to help the animals and nature and things, and yeah, people could power their gardens, right?
For what you need.
Yeah. That's cool. So how big is the one that you're trying to?
I work with 4-foot diameters.
Oh, so 4x4.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that big. It's manageable to be put in if small spaces, it can come smaller.
Yeah, and they're entirely scalable. So if you want a lot of power, you could put one in your backyard, for example.
Sick. And like, well, you probably think maybe by next year you'll have it, maybe, hopefully.
No.
Couple years out.
I've been working on that for almost 40 years.
Woo! Hey, yeah. Man, hey, dude. If I ever brainstorm and think large enough to help you out, I'll do it.
Sure.
Okay. What? Anything else you want to go ahead and mention before we go ahead and wrap this up?
I think we've done a pretty good job. I think if people want to be healthy, the Aquacure, which is what my current attention is on, and has been for the last 10 years now. We've made better and better machines. We've got some pretty darn good machines out there, and they're safe. I should mention that there are a lot of copycats that look like our machines, and they are not safe.
Bogus. Eagle Research is the place to go. George Wiseman is the real one, and I've had him on my podcast many times, and definitely the wisest. I'm not even playing, like, dude, like, much respect to what you're doing, and providing all of this information and enlightenment, because there's so many people in the world who just want to hide this type of stuff, who want to keep it all to themselves and be mean and be stubborn and go do it yourself, go figure it out yourself. And like it was weird this morning, man. I saw it in a local Facebook forum about like a city forum. Like they got like the city of my hometown city, so everybody has their little chat, whatever. But like it was another city, and this guy was asking for help. And he's like, "Hey man, where can I look for help with Thanksgiving meal, or like where can I look for food and things like that?" And I was quick to reference my thing, but someone else had was like super rude, like, "Why don't you go fucking find a job like the rest of us?" And like that's the type of like people are out there, and like you're not one of them, man. You're not one of those like assholes, just those figures who are just trying to make a buck and everything. This man's doing it out of the love of his heart, and providing an enlightening spirit, man. So
Yeah, that's why we have the 1 year satisfaction guarantee. And one thing I learned on the ranch when I was growing up, I called myself lazy because I don't like to fix things more than once. So I'm an automotive technician. I by trade, one of my trades, and I really didn't like fixing the automobiles again and again and again. And that's the way they designed them. Automobiles should be able to go over 1,000,000 miles virtually maintenance free with the technology that exists now and getting 400 or 500 miles to the gallon. The technology exists to do both those things. So when I design my machines like the Aquacure, I design them so that they don't break down. They'll last for decades. So I have a lifetime manufacturer's warranty, as well as the 1 year satisfaction guarantee.
nice. Tell them where they can find you, brother. Tell them where they can find you.
Yes. So if they go to the Eagle-Research, so there's a hyphen between Eagle and Research.com website, you'll be able to see me, and you can look at the Aquacure there. And
How can they get in contact with you?
Pardon?
How can they get in contact with you? Like social medias
Yeah,
or
the
emails or anything like
website.
that stuff?
Yeah, the website has a contact us page so that
Awesome.
they can. Emails aren't. I love emails. I do it preferably over text and what have you, but the internet for some reason is not very kind to our emails.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah. Remember,
So
he
if
is
you
in a different
contact us
province.
directly with the contact us on the website.
Definitely. And do you guys have any social medias or YouTube or anything?
We do, and we're hiring some people to develop those further. Like I put up a Facebook page, but I'm rarely on it or anything.
Is there
are some
YouTube
people out there.
videos?
We have quite a few YouTube videos. You can see if you look at, you can see my older ones.
Well, I mean, what's the YouTube page?
That would be, well, if you search for George Wiseman in YouTube, it'll pop up. I think I
Okay.
call myself Eco Pegasus or something in that.
Something Eagle. Hey, you know what I wanted to mention, dude? This whole time, I don't know why it barely even clicked to me. My last name's I'm gonna dox myself. Anyways, my last name's they're already out there. Pena is the origins means high rock and high place, high rocky area. But my other last name Aguilar means eagle, and together, high rock eagle research. I think this was destined, man. Like this is an amazing podcast. And every time you're on, dude, we knock it out of the park, brother. Put it on the Lord that we're doing the Lord's work. We're out here servicing humanity because the Lord's giving us blessings, man. We're just giving it up back. And with that, guys, it's been amazing, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
And don't forget your affiliate code for people getting a discount as well.
That is right. Yes. So you can use my coupon code 509 Divine Pines. And thank you guys for being here. Support George Wiseman, the wisest man in Canada, because Canada's he's the saving force. I'll be real. Hey, you know what, dude? Toronto Blue Jays versus LA Dodgers, man. I hope America wins. Because Toronto took out Seattle Mariners, and I'm over here in Washington State, right? We're the only team that's never went to the World Series, and I can't believe it, dude. It seemed I didn't watch the last game because I was busy podcasting, and people are saying that like it was rigged hardcore, and I'm like, leave it up to Canada to go ahead and screw over America and everything we love, man. Hey, you're the saving force over there. I appreciate you, brother. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless. Be blessed. Be high. See you guys next time on the 509 Divine Pines podcast. Peace.